All right, guys, welcome to our second episode of Press Record.
Press record. Woo!
We have some guests with us.
Hi.
Super excited about our guests, Liz and Brandon.
Hello.
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 Yes.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, thank y'all for having us out.
Yeah, thank y'all for coming out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love the setup. It's
It's cool.
makes me think of Big Trouble in Little China. Is that Did I say that right? I always
I think
Big Trouble
it
in Little
is.
China.
Yeah.
It's the
The little China balls.
I know what
Yeah.
you're
Did
thinking
you have
of,
that in
yeah.
mind when you set it up? Yeah, that's what it is, right?
yeah. I'm like,
Big
I-
Trouble
was
in
like-
Little China.
yeah, I'm gonna be Kurt
John
Russell.
Carpenter. Kurt Russell. It's all in the reflexes. Put those Chinese
Chinese
balls.
balls.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I love where this is going already. Love
I
it.
do too. Well, I'm really excited. You are both our first official guests, and I am obsessed with both of you. And you've always been really supportive of just even me with social media, like the silly things,
Yep.
my antics on there.
I love your antics
Yeah.
on social media.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it gives people something to look forward to. So
You
yeah.
send me a lot of
Batman.
yes, Lego or Batman, which I appreciate.
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah, a lot.
I love it.
Yeah, there's anytime I'm
wearing
scrolling through, I'm
Batman
like,
right now.
I'm like, oh wow, Batman. Helena needs to see this. Boom.
Yes, and you both are podcast pros as well.
Do we call it pros?
Yes.
Do we call it we just keep trucking on?
We
Like we're persistent. We're persistent
yeah,
podcasters.
she does, but I fake it. I fake it pretty good.
You're full of it.
And,
You gotta fake it to me.
right.
Yeah,
and it
right.
was,
Fake it till you make it.
Fright Cap,
Yes.
right? The name. And how long have you had the podcast?
Since fall of last year, around fall of
Right.
last year, we do that anyways.
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
literally just sit in the bed and talk
Yeah.
at night.
That was the full idea of it. Is when we first started talking, pretty much every conversation was strictly horror movies. And
we love horror
before we went to sleep, we just talk just crazy. I mean, just crazy little scenes, or we tell parts of movies that we liked. And just one night, I was like, "This is what we need to do. We just need to put it up. It don't have to be correct or anything. Let's just let people hear how our conversations are."
And we were literally like, nobody will watch it. Nobody will listen. It won't even matter. Now we've got people listening from all over the country.
Yeah, I don't know. We're horror fans
We
over
are
here.
horror fans, yeah.
Yay.
We keep talking about we want to make a horror movie, and that how I want to just
wanna die.
somehow die. I don't know. Anyway, I'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that. Like, if I was in a horror movie, like, how would I die? You know, there's always that
yeah.
feeling. I feel like my death scene, I'd always want to go out stroking. You know, like I want to be a sex scene.
Dude,
So that's how I would go out.
how would I go out?
I hope you go out stroking too. Like we just be stroking.
Well, nice.
We can make that happen.
Yeah, right. Brandon, Liz, they have to be stroking. Dead.
NC-17
Yeah.
slasher.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I don't know. So also I wanted to talk about, I mean, there's so many things that you do. Let's talk about the Chattanooga Film Festival.
Chattanooga Film Festival is every June.
Yeah.
This year we are June 21st through the 28th. And I can't even begin to say how many things we have planned for this year. And it's both virtual and on-site. So we're at the Reed House again this year, like we were last year. We've kind of found that to be our home. It's a haunted hotel in Chattanooga.
Oh my gosh. Have you experienced anything with that? Have you stayed there?
Well, not where we were supposed to experience it. So there was. Would you like to talk about Annalisa? You know more about Annalisa probably than I do.
Yeah, I'll give you the short version of the story. But there at the Reed House, like when you go stay outside of the building, they've got this plaque, and it tells everything that's happened in the Reed House. Well, of course, it tells about this murder because like it was like a big deal. And what it was is this guy would go on these business trips. It was back in 1927, I think. But he would leave, and his wife, he'd store her up there. So, like, he'd pay money for her to stay in the hotel while he'd be going on business. Well, she started getting lonely, and she started going to the pool tables and stuff there at the Reed House. And she met up with this caller, and they had a good night. So she was like, wow, you know, with him gone, I can I can see these guys and stuff, and he'll never know. Well, word got out in Chicago and everywhere else that if you go stay at the Reed House, there's this girl that stays there, and she'll show you a good time. And he found out that was his wife. Oh. So he told her that he was going to this business trip, and he come back, and she had a guy in this room, 311. That's the one that's there.
Okay.
And long story short, he goes in and takes her head almost off, about cuts her head off in a tub, and that's the story.
how she's found.
That's how they found her. Okay. Whenever I went on the tour guide, like whenever I first did it, I asked the question. I said, "Well, is there a burial plot of her or anything?" He's like, "Actually," because I never thought of anything like that, but where it happened so far back in the day, money talked, so it's probably just scooted under the rug.
So the room itself, we got to tour. It's not very, like, it makes you feel sad. When you go in as a female, and on a female perspective, I feel like men have passed this story down. It's like the telephone game. It just gets more involved as it goes. Yeah. We really don't know what happened to Annalisa, in my opinion. And
I couldn't stay there.
No. So you feel a deep sadness for her in the room, but you don't feel that it's haunted necessarily. But when we were on our own floor and out in the hallway areas and in the foyer, like, it was there was a lot of activity, a lot of feels, a lot of like temperature changes. Yeah.
Oh, the worst was the only way I could call it is vertigo. Like when we was standing there, like it felt like the whole room was just swaying, and I didn't say anything, and she's like, "I'm so dizzy," and I was like, "I've got that too." I was like, "It feels like the whole building's
It's
swaying."
like when you
and stuff.
stand on a bridge and you feel the vibrations. It felt like that.
Yeah.
God. So it was probably the presence of a spirit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trying
For
to
sure.
tell us that what the tour guide was trying to imply about her was not true.
Yeah.
I feel.
But yeah, that's a great addition to the Chattanooga Film Festival. Like I said, you can take that tour if you want to, because everything's happening inside the Reed House. So like everything you're doing, it's they're showing movies in one room, and you get to go do that. Then there's special guests, and
There's a book signing in
yeah.
another room, or something to that nature, and you can take the tour while you're there.
I love that. I haven't been in Chattanooga in so long, but I was like, I remember you posting that last year, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. But it was more virtual, wasn't it?
Last year was
Last
on
year?
site.
Oh, was it?
It was was our return to on site, because we had been virtual since COVID.
That's right.
And Chris Storch, who is a longtime friend of mine who founded this fest, he came to the conclusion that why don't we keep it virtual and on site? Because so many people that couldn't access the fest due to distance or due to disability had an opportunity to see these films, and it worked. It worked out perfectly. So that's where we're at for right now. Microsoft built a suite, just like a setup for us, just to test it out, and then just gave it to Chris. Was like, here, you could use this format, and it's worked out great.
That's good.
Do you get a lot of submissions?
Yeah.
For that? Tons?
Oh yeah,
We should do that.
We should submit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah.
What kind of
Film
submissions do
Freeway.
y'all do? Do you take is it genre based?
Films. So this started out as a horror festival.
Okay.
Frightening Ass Film Festival. It started off as just like a party, basically, because Chris is actually from Nashville, and he used to work at Belcourt, and he moved out to Chattanooga, and there wasn't really anything happening where he could connect with other cinephiles. So he started this just as a party for horror fans, horror freaks. And it was kind of like the party scene in Gremlins in the bar where everybody's just hanging off the rafters
perfect.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And it evolved into this weird, Chris is going to listen to this and say, what did you say? Respectable film festival, independent film festival. So it evolved into this. But horror specifically.
Yeah.
But really any type of weird genre, type film. He gets a lot of documentaries. He gets a lot of even just plain old, like indie drama films that are terrific.
Yeah.
Really, anything goes.
Yeah. The secret stuff that comes up is my favorite. So like last year, like she's like, I got something, Brandon, that's fixing to happen. She goes, I can't tell you right now, but when it happens, I was like, okay. So the secret thing last year was we got to read. We got the script read this episode of Tales from the Crypt that was supposed to be a movie. It's supposed to be the movie.
Oh, wow.
And
I
did
love
it.
Tales from the Crypt.
And we did it with the writer.
And the producers of Tales from the Crypt, Gil and Al, and it was
crazy.
a wild
No, that is
ride.
crazy.
Yeah, because like we're all virtual, and I got to play 2 characters. I think you played 2 characters, and it was just so weird. Like,
So this is something that's been so important to us, in particular, and Chris, for our whole lives, because EC Comics was such a big deal to us. And Demon Knight, in particular, was such a
Demon
big
Knight.
deal to me
Yeah.
and to Brandon. And to like we knew from reading horror magazines back in the day when we were kids, when this came out, that there was supposed to be this sequel that never happened, that was scrapped for Bordello of Blood, which was god awful. And if anybody listening has any interest in learning about that, Gil and Al have a podcast, that How Not to Make a Movie podcast, which tells a lot about
Listen to
how
that.
that happened and everything just went chaotic. But having that script and reading it together and being like, oh my God, this is what was supposed to happen. And having the opportunity to read those characters with Gil and Al and with a lot of amazing independent actors too, was just unreal.
So it was just a read. Is it ever going to come to fruition or?
We have a video of it. I'm pretty sure Chris has the video of it, and it was part of the Chattanooga Film Fest last year.
Okay.
For virtual and hybrid pass
It's
holders.
just like so exciting to hear that.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Brandon's voice. So Brandon was a child in one of his characters, a Southern Bayou child.
Can you just say maybe not a line from there, but just I want to hear it. Can we hear it a little bit? Just say.
I sounded like this. I was like, Dad, you can't do that. It almost sounded like Bob, like stiletto, like it.
It's like Bob from City of the Living Dead.
Yeah, House of the Cemetery.
Oh, excuse me.
great.
Sorry, Bob.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Bob. No. But like it's just it's
Yeah.
weird reading it because like now when I'm talking about it right now, like I feel like I watched the episode because I put my own visual to it while we did it.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing like when I think about I'll be thinking about movies and I'm like, man, what is that movie? And it's not a movie. It's like R.L. Stein Fear Street book or whatever. I made my own. So like that's a good little memory that I had because I made my own. But that's what I'm saying is like Chattanooga Film Festival, they got stuff like that. And it's so amazing whenever they put it out. And this year's going to be good. I know we can't talk, but God, it's going to be so good.
There's a lot of stuff I wish that we could talk about, but
keep it in.
it's under
Yeah.
wraps.
Oh, it's so good.
We'll have to go.
But what I
Oh, yeah.
can
It's a
say,
surprise.
what
Yes.
has been announced is the Rod Serling birthday party, I guess you could say. So this
party.
is going to be a Rod Serling retrospective at Chattanooga Whiskey. And we've got his daughter there to facilitate. And I'm pretty sure I'll be DJing while
Okay.
that's going on. And
Like DJ music. I had no idea you did that.
so I was a DJ here in Nashville for
You
many
do
years.
everything. You model acts, just horror queen, everything. Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah.
so I think I'll be DJing that. If not, it'll either be me and Jason Shawn from Belcourt, or it'll just be Jason Shawn. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
And what else? So that we've also got anniversary of Faster Pussycat Kill Kill, Russ Meyer's epic boob explosion of a film.
Boob explosion.
I'm a Russ Meyer girl through and through, so that meant so much to me to have his estate's blessing,
Yeah.
to give to Chris to make this happen. And that's going to be something that I'm going to be heavily involved in, that I'm really excited
Oh,
for.
that's great.
Now, you might have said it, but how many days is the festival? Is it one,
So-
two, three?
It runs throughout the whole week.
Okay, so
so
it's
it's
a
like
whole
it's
That's
like
crazy. It's a whole week.
usually it's a Friday through the following Sunday. But this is going to start on a Thursday this year,
Okay.
and that's just because it's starting. We're having the Serling party on Chris's birthday,
Okay.
so we added an extra day in there.
Yeah. So with the DJing, I'm coming back to that because I'm just like, oh my gosh, what music, what type, what do you? what's your-
Whatever the occasion calls for, or whatever
Okay.
I'm booked for.
Okay.
I used to. Goth brunch was one of the things that I was most happy
Brunch.
with.
That should happen in Nashville. I
Well,
think
we
that
had
would be
it at Cobra,
okay.
and it just kind of
I was just
fell
there
apart.
last night. There was like a punk band playing, you know.
Oh, you went to the blood rave?
Was that what it is?
No, the Cobra.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had like a whole Blade rave or something.
That's my buddy Eric, Eric D. So
Well,
DJ.
I was going to the East Room and we came a little bit too early and you didn't want to look like a loser. So I was like, let's go to Cobra. We walked in this punk show and we're like, oh, right on.
Oh yeah, well,
that's awesome.
well, in the right hand side was where the rave was going on, and
Oh, okay.
where it looked like Blade, like vampires everywhere.
Oh,
Okay.
we didn't go
Yeah.
there. We were in the main, like
Yeah.
that part area. That's so cool. Yeah.
Good old
stuff.
rave. I need to go to a rave.
Good old
Need a
Eric.
rave here.
Yeah.
So you said boobs, and it reminded me of you took me to
Boobs.
both of you to the was it where? What was it?
Oh, Curse of the
Were-deer?
Were-deer.
That was so wild. It was there was a lot of penises. There was a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
I don't. You did not. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a.
Yeah. It was. So
You got
wild.
saved at the site. No, Were-deer is actually amazing, and that's our
Yeah.
buddy Ben Johnson's film, who is part of Trauma, who does the Totally Tunular podcast with me.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next. But I was just my
He's
friend
amazing.
went with me, and I was like, "What did you think?" He was just like, "I don't know."
Yeah. Well, that's perfect. That's
that's great.
that's
I
perfect.
loved
That's
it.
that's a
Best way to
perfect
walk
trauma.
out of a film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Westmoreland, Tennessee became South Tromaville
Okay.
for that film, and it's kind of written as a what would you say a parody of
Yeah, it's
of
a
the
over,
real Tennessee redneck.
That's what we say.
Like
It's
the camping. Oh my gosh,
the
that
camp scene,
scene.
yeah.
Tom with the fellers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's definitely a more
I need to
over
see
dramatic version
Yes.
of how Southern living
Starring
is.
our friend Jazz Hanks, who is an amazing human being and amazing actress.
Yeah, that was great. And then you also the tunular. You brought that up.
Yes. So
yeah.
Tunular is every Wednesday live, every Wednesday at 7:30 Central Standard Time. And then it's also put out at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time on Saturdays, just in audio form for streaming services. But that is a weekly cartoon podcast. So
So cool.
I am eternally a 12-year-old boy
The same. Yeah.
stuck in
you
like
know?
1995. Yeah. And I love cartoons and animation. And I was very honored that they asked me to. So I had guested on that show a few times, and they were one day just out of the blue said, "Hey, would you like to co-host on this show? We love you, and you fit right in with us." And I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So right now it's myself, Ben Johnson, who Curse of the Were-deer director, and James Boylan, who is also a filmmaker, works with Trauma. He has a film coming out soon called Portrait of Payback.
Okay.
And
So you work a lot with that team. then.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's cool.
We also work with Trauma-related, Big Dan.
Yeah.
We also work with Big Dan Stubblefield of Big Dan's. I can't even say it without being tongue-tied. Big Dan's Bethpage Barbecue.
Yeah.
Say that 10 times fast.
Say best damn Bethpage barbecue, Big Dan.
10 times fast.
Yeah.
So he has a show called Eat With Your Eyes where he makes food that
Okay.
has to do with a certain type of genre film, whatever we're watching. And that's on
Oh,
the
that's
Fantasy Shed
interesting.
Network as well. So we love Dan. Dan got his. He's in Were Deer. He's the one that gets the stiletto from the stripper in his eyeball.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Big Dan.
Yeah, no. That movie. It's just, you need to watch it.
I have to.
Yeah, it's quite a watch. I like it.
Yeah.
So, like, what would he cook? Like you said, for the genre of the film.
He made some birria tacos for what was that film that we watched with Nicole?
I'm trying to think. I can't think
I
of
can't
what.
think of the name
I've,
of it.
I've got it visualized.
So he's made birria tacos. He's made what else? That popcorn burger
Oh,
for
the
Killer
popcorn-
Clowns.
God,
Oh my God, I love Killer Clowns.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
yeah. He called them smash burgers. So he just took all of his meat and seasoned it, and then he put popcorn and just crumbled it up.
And you think
patted
you'd
it.
just eat kernels and it'd be gross, but you don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like Big Dan he's a wizard.
Yeah,
when it
it's
comes
What does
to
he do
food.
with he just puts it on the
He
burgers?
mixes it in the patties.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Popcorn? Or
So it's
Yeah,
just
pop-
a
pop-
different,
okay.
like
Yeah.
a certain crunch.
Yeah.
to it. Okay.
It's like a weird, like the fluffy part of the popcorn.
Yeah.
That's what you taste.
Yeah.
Okay. In the burger meat. That's
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, like we've done so much. We did. What did Texas Chainsaw Massacre too? I can't remember what all we did.
We've
Would
done
it
a
be like
ton.
spaghetti or something? What would you make
Oh,
with that?
But his forte is barbecue.
yeah.
Let's just
Okay.
say that. Big Dan, and he just made a
Oh,
he
the
just made
Garfield.
a blasphemous Easter ham
Oh, yeah.
today. Yeah, Garfield.
Yeah, the Garfield one was good. The lasagna. Yeah, it was God.
So
Like I said, he
we
does
watched
everything.
Garfield's Halloween special
Okay.
for Halloween,
think I've
and he
seen that.
made a
I haven't either.
lasagna.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's like my favorite Halloween special ever. So when
Yeah.
Big Dan
Is
came
it
out
newer
with
or
that,
older?
Oh, it's old.
Okay, old, okay, I was
like
gonna say,
from
yeah.
the '80s.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can. I think it's on Pluto. You can just go to
Yeah.
Pluto, that app
I
Pluto,
love
and it's
Pluto. I
yeah.
tell
Just
people
go in
about
there
it.
and look it up.
Pluto and Tubi, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
you,
Yeah,
Both
Tubi's
of
the
those.
it's amazing. I'll watch commercials. I'll watch
Yeah.
ads. I don't care.
That's the way it used to be. People are just so impatient now. They're like, oh, I'm going to pay so much more. I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad
I
you
grew
said
up
that.
with that. So
Yeah,
Hey.
like I grew up with TBS and
Yeah.
TNT. We watched ads.
the Saturday cartoons and everything. I don't know.
Well, say that like this is my favorite. I'm gonna put it on a T-shirt. I'm a broken record. But like y'all talking about, you have to go through all this stuff to watch stuff. That's what I think how we're obsessed with horror movies. No, I'm not knocking newer people to this, but
Yeah.
I don't. They're never going to experience going to the rental store, praying to God that your movie's going to be there, and then holding that VHS tape till you get home. I mean, like
Yeah.
I can remember everything. Like when I rent Sleepaway Camp, I would sit there and just think of. I was like, oh man, I can't wait to see that guy get all those bees. Like I'm sitting there waiting. And then even when I get home, you have to wait through the trailers.
Yeah.
And see, like now everything it has to be instant
so-
stuff.
Yeah, too quick. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes away the nostalgia of it, and that's a lot that we talk about. Like anytime we're
It's bringing
around.
back that
Yeah.
feeling of nostalgia.
Yeah, so we try to do it. Try to.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, wink, wink.
Okay. And then you also have, guys, I'm trying to list of all the things that you both do, the Twin Peaks.
Yes.
And we were
So
talking about this before. It's been a big hit and from all over.
I can't believe how much of a community has grown from that show. Just we didn't think that was going to be even like we thought maybe our friends would listen to it, and that would be about it.
Then it blew up into something.
Amazing, like 8,000 people on Spotify alone.
Wow.
Like who? Like why me? Like I don't understand
What
that.
do you mean?
Yeah.
That's silly.
I talk about crazy stuff, but we get people writing into us all the time that say, like in particular, one that we just got, a woman that was talking about her sobriety, and she's going into being sober, and something that made her she was thinking about things that made her happy before alcohol consumed her life. And Twin Peaks was one of those things, and she said, I couldn't find any podcast to listen to on my rewatches that wasn't serious, super serious, and that was female. And I found you guys. And she said, this gets me through my rewatches and gives me something to look forward to. And that blew my mind. I was like,
It makes you feel good.
wow,
Yeah.
yeah. So those kind of responses has been amazing for Michelle and I.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not, it's something that we both hold very dear to our hearts. As much as we knock it and make fun of the things that are happening every episode.
Well, that's with anything. I mean, like
Yeah.
the stuff that you care deeply for. You know, there's stuff that you kind of wish would be this way, but it's not. But you accept it. You know, so yeah, I get that though.
And we got to meet Sherilyn Finn and Cheryl Lee just recently at the
And she's in boxing, Helena.
Lexington Con.
I've seen that movie a long time ago, and it's wild.
Yeah.
It's so wild.
That's a wild ride.
yeah.
I love it.
I do too.
R.I.P. Julian Sands.
And
Yeah,
I've
right.
referenced it to people, and they're like, what are you talking about? Because I'm like, maybe you shouldn't watch it.
Well, when I hear your name, that's the first thing that enters my mind. That and the Misfits. Like I always think.
People say My Chemical Romance.
Oh, yeah,
But I was like,
yeah,
they
yeah.
never say my name.
Yeah.
You know?
I always do the Misfits, Helena.
Yeah, dude, Misfits.
Yeah.
Dude.
I don't even know if I've heard. Maybe that'll.
We'll play it for you after.
Okay.
Yeah, God, yeah. It's on my favorite Misfits album of all time, Famous
Yeah,
Monsters.
yeah.
It's the last song on the album. Well, close. It's the second to last because they do that Kong at the Gates or at the Gates Kong.
And you've been to a Misfits concert?
I haven't.
You haven't?
No, but my band we got to open up for Doyle, the guitar player
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Misfits, and God, we got to open up for them and Cancer Slug in Huntsville, Alabama. That show was showed out, especially not for us, but everybody was so pumped for Cancer Slug.
Yeah.
It just made everybody's vibe just so good. And a little story with that, we get up there and we're playing. My guitarist can't hear, I can't hear. So like I'm looking back at my drummer. So we play the show and we walk outside and me and my guitarist, we're complaining about the sound. And Doyle walks up right behind us and he goes, "Hey guys." And he's like, "Hey," and he goes, "How'd it sound up there?" And my guitarist's like, "Man, it sounds great." He goes, "You're gonna love it." And he goes,
Way to go, Brent.
Yeah, and he goes, he goes, "All right." He goes, "Man," he goes, "I appreciate y'all coming out and playing." And we was like, "No, we appreciate you." And he walked off, and I go, "Oh my God!" And he goes, "Oh, I just lied to Doyle." I go, "I know." "Why'd you tell him that?" He goes, "Hell, he plays through bass rigs anyway. He's gonna be able to hear. You know, it ain't like what we was playing through little bitty tiny amps." But it was good. It's crazy.
How long ago was that?
Man, it's been years ago.
Years ago?
Probably 3 or 4 years ago. I think.
How long
Yeah.
have you been in silent horror?
God, too long.
Yeah.
that the name of
Is
the
that
band?
yeah, I was going to say.
Silent horror.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey.
Yeah, it's just a little punk band.
No, punk band.
Horror punk.
Horror
band.
punk,
Get that
excuse me,
We should
right.
have you guys play because that's what we want. We want like, we're like acoustic, but I don't know how can you make punk acoustic.
Well, you can't.
Really?
Well, a lot of the
Trash cans.
a lot of the bands in that genre, they'll go out and play acoustic, and the genre is so, lack of a better word, it's small, and I don't mean that not everybody's obsessed with it. It's just it's small because it's so tight knit. Like
Yeah.
every band is friends with this band, and this band has these friends, and everybody supports each other. So everybody is in that circle, and it's, you know, anywhere you go, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, we'll go listen to Evelyn's Casket, or we'll go and listen to, you know, whoever." There's that. So like, if somebody says, "Hey, so and so's having an acoustic show," it will still get the same volume of people show up just because they love hearing about horror movies. You know.
Yeah.
Always.
What do you play?
I play bass.
Okay, bass player.
Yeah, good, awesome.
You know, I was just talking about guitar. I was
Best
like,
vibes.
Yeah.
Bass players. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah,
They're the coolest.
I've always played guitar, but to get in this band, Silent Horror, I was
great
I was obsessed with the band. They was like the top tier horror punk in my eyes whenever I started listening to them. So like, I was listening to Calabrese, I was listening to the '90s Misfits, I was listening to this band called the Rosedales, which they're one of the best horror punk bands. But when Silent Horror emerged, it took the whole scene by surprise. Like everybody was obsessed with them because just of the dynamics of like the three guys just getting together, and it just blew everybody away. It blew me away. But when I first heard them, the name, I didn't listen to the band. I was talking pure shit about them. I was like, God, I was like Silent Horror. I was like, this band can't, you know, they're not going to be like Calabrese, you know, they're not going to be this big band. And my friend at the time, he's like, "Listen, I've got this Silent Horror record." He goes, "I want you to listen to this because you like that doo-wop sound of the Misfits." And he goes, you're going to love this. So the first song they played was this song called Teenage Homicide. And I couldn't explain it. Like, it just blew me away. Flash forward, the band stopped playing. They didn't play no more. So I contacted them, and I pretty much just begged them to start playing. And I was like, well, you care if I cover one of y'all songs? And they're like, yeah, that's fine, but send it to us. We'd like to listen to it. So I did the bass, the drums, the guitar, the vocal. I did it all and sent it to them. And they go, man, who do you play with? And I was like, I did all that. And they're like, oh, cool. So I stayed in contact with them for like a year. Finally, I broke them out of it and got them back together. Yeah, and here we go. So yeah, we've done 2 records so far. I guess you can say it's.
Oh,
they're
that's
on,
awesome.
Yeah, they're on vinyl. But
yeah.
He's got
That's a
fans
cool way to do
from
it. Yeah.
around the world.
You should play around the world.
Our
You should
buddy
just have that.
Patrick.
yeah, from Sweden.
Patrick from Sweden sends him the coolest stuff. And I'm like, Patrick, you don't have to do that. And he's like, I love Brandon. I love his music.
Aw,
He'll send me
go
like
to Sweden.
Oh yeah, go Sweden. He'll
He's
send
the best.
Yeah, he sent like all kinds of like Elvira, like stuff that I didn't even know existed. Like he sent me this Elvira laser disc, and I was like,
That's amazing. And you
What
both
is-
love Elvira.
oh god,
Yeah, I see your posts. I'm like,
That's one of our first, like, mutual obsessions,
Mm-hmm.
I think. And one of the
I love
first, like, our first phone call,
Mm-hmm.
that was
What's
one of
it
the things
about?
that we clicked
Yeah.
on. I was on the phone with our first phone call. I was on the phone with him for over 4 hours.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
just talking
that's
about
crazy.
favorite movies and like horror things.
yeah.
And I was also like, wow, this guy can understand my accent. Like, he understands what I'm saying. I don't have to repeat it.
Where are you from?
Well, I'm originally from East Tennessee.
Okay.
And my whole family sounds like this, but amplified and worse. So I'm actually on a lower level of twang. And
I love it.
Brandon has been in East Tennessee for most of his life.
all of my life.
So his is on a grander scale like my family.
Yeah. I have a little bit. I'm from Nashville, so it comes out, but I'm like,
Yeah, the twang,
little
comes.
twang.
Yeah.
It's there. You have one.
Yeah, especially when I go back home to North Carolina.
There you go.
Yeah, you just get around your people and it just goes right back.
Yeah. Yeah, I always try to enunciate. Like even like when I was saying the band name, like Silent Horror, there's people I'll tell the band name that don't understand my accent. And they're like, your name's Silent R,
Yeah.
like the letter R. I'm like, no, it's R.
They think
R.
he's Australian because his accent is so chewy. You know?
I can't even do
Yeah,
an
good,
Australian
yeah,
accent.
good day. Arrow.
Like Scooby Doo. I don't know. Is that?
That'd be good. Hey, Scooby Doo in Australia, I'd watch that.
Oh
Me
my
too.
gosh. You have great little impersonations. I like that.
I do a lot of impersonations. A lot.
You
David
do
Lynch.
voice acting. You do that as well,
Oh,
right?
God, I'd love to do voice acting.
Yeah,
He
I
should
think-
be doing voice acting.
As I said, with the kid that you just did, I'm
Yeah,
sure
that's
you've got
impressive.
a array of stuff you could do.
You know, yeah, I do. I don't do it like out of making fun. It's just as I was growing up, that was something that I wanted. I didn't have like a lot of friends, and it wasn't that I was horrible. It's just I was so much for everybody, and like there's like, wow, we can't go this much. You know, like I'm 110 energy all the time. So when I was younger, I had to try to figure out that line to be where I could hang out with people. But that's what I do is my mom would sit me in and I'd watch Batman. I would watch all these movies, and that's what I would do. I would try to imitate them. Yeah,
I'm the same way.
And that's what I do. And that's what I do with my action figures. Like they had to sound like it. You know, Ninja
Yeah.
Turtles, Shredder. You know, all that. But now my big thing is I like talking like David Lynch, and I like talking like her deaf cat. Her deaf cat
He
named Tony.
creates voices for
Oh my god.
things
Yeah.
and animals. And so Tony Hawk, who is my hearing impaired cat,
Great name.
he has a voice for Tony Hawk
Yeah.
too.
It kind of sounds like Dr. Roxo from
Metalocalypse, yeah.
He's like, hey, he's a cat, Elizabeth. Have you ever walked over here and watched this movie Nightmare on Elm Street? Guess what? It's got Freddy Krueger in it.
That's what your
Yeah.
goes.
That's what the cat sounds like.
Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk. He sounds just
He has
like
a
that.
voice.
Yeah, he has a voice.
my
He does when I'm there.
That's hilarious. We are wearing some Batman.
Yes.
Gemini.
Yeah, that's a sick shirt.
Yeah.
My friend.
Brandon got it for me.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yep.
love that.
What's weird, I think we got it for Christmas or something, but what's weird is I bought her that shirt and she bought me a Batman shirt, the same
From the same collection.
same
wow.
company and
At the
everything.
same time,
At the same
just
time.
out.
I love that.
We didn't know
Yeah,
it.
I was like, here, I got you this. And she's like, well, God, Brandon, I got you this. And I was like, oh my God.
Of course, I got mad about it.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
Dang it, Brendan.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I kind of want to wrap things up by asking, what's your favorite horror movie for both of you?
I know.
Let's
what
try
yours
and end it
is.
that way. Oh, you do?
Do you know?
Do you want to know? Do you want to say
say-
each other's?
Yeah, I want to see
Oh,
this.
no,
If we
because
get
I
it
know,
right.
like, no.
Well,
Let's do that. Let's do that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me put a disclaimer
Okay.
before this.
Okay.
Okay. I think I know your favorite.
Smart.
I think.
It's smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart to do that.
Yeah. Okay. The reason being is because you're very passionate about movies. So the ones I think is your favorite might not be. So I threw that up there. So we're gonna play the game.
Okay.
Do you know my favorite?
Sleepaway Camp 2.
That's true.
You
That's my
did
favorite.
say it.
I mean, that's always been.
She was ready.
Yeah, she is. She's like, she goes, I'll put you under the
He
ground.
does like Sleepaway Camp 1.
Yeah.
And I think he has a little bit of, like, what is it, nostalgia thing for Sleepaway Camp 1? But Sleepaway Camp 2.
Yeah, Sleepaway Camp 2 to me is, in my mind,
He
it's
loves Felissa Rose.
yeah. I like Felissa Rose
first.
in the first one, but Bruce
I
Springsteen's
was
sister in the second one is just phenomenal, and like everything in it, like the effects, how all the kids are, the music's. I mean, hell, it opens up with Anvil. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, oh my God, this like, everything about it's
The
just great.
outhouse scene.
Yeah, it's all God, so good. But yeah, your favorite horror movie of all time?
Tennessee. Give you a hint.
Well, we'll see. I'm glad you said that. Okay, I already know what it is now, but I was gonna say Demon Night because
Oh, you have said
I mean,
that.
it's
Yeah.
right
yeah,
up there. It's right
well, see,
up
that's
there.
that's the reason why I said that is in the house she collects, but it's only stuff that she's hardcore about. Okay, Demon Night, we've got soundtracks, we've got it on VHS, we got it VHS shrink wrap, we got it on so yours is Evil Dead. Okay.
Yeah, it's like
So,
both are great.
Now that's it. That's my okay. How can I phrase that? I think we've done this before, or we've talked about this. My favorite movie is not the best horror movie
And
that
that's
there is.
how I do too.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's how most of us do
Yeah.
that are like hardcore genre fans like that.
Yeah.
Our favorites aren't necessarily the best movies ever made. They're movies that meant something to us at a
that
certain time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say definitely.
Yeah. What's yours?
I would say I love Army of Darkness.
I was gonna say that too. That's
I always
probably-
say
that was probably
that.
my favorite one growing up.
That's a good one.
And it was actually an ex-boyfriend that was like, "Hey, watch this movie." This was a couple years back, and I like, "What is this?" And I was obsessed. I was like, "This is ridiculous" in such a great way. I was like, "Oh my God."
You're like, am I watching
that's
Three
awesome.
Stooges or am I watching Sam Raimi?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
There's a lot of horror movies that I think's just phenomenal. But if you ever ask me, you say, "Hey, Brandon, you have to tell me what the best horror movie there is." I will defend Evil Dead through and through because I can watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I can watch Friday 13th Part 5, I can watch Cannibal Holocaust, I can watch all these movies, and now it's kind of just I'm watching it. Every time I watch Evil Dead, I mean I'm getting goosebumps thinking about her right now.
Yeah.
Like Ash's girlfriend, when she's sitting there and she looks like a porcelain doll, and like she's.
The laugh.
I mean,
and
like
everything.
like they're all. That whole movie is just.
And I go
perfect.
between, in my head, I go between putting Evil Dead on the pedestal and putting Evil Dead 2 on the pedestal. I go back and forth because there's so much to, like they're polar opposite in tone, but there's so much to pick and love from each one of those, and even Army of Darkness, that it's hard to keep one ranked above the other.
Yeah.
I know Bruce Campbell was going on a book tour years ago because he wrote the book, was it If Chins Could Kill, which I still have. Someone gifted to me. I never read it, and I was like, why haven't I? And it was in California, and I almost went, and I didn't. I was like,
We
I
were
wanted
supposed to
meet
see
him.
him at the Caverns,
Oh yeah, my friends went to
and
that.
we didn't get a chance to.
They loved it.
And we had tickets, and it sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all right.
But
Campbell.
Yeah. That's what
Same town too.
yeah. Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell. Well, I wanted to thank you both for coming on our podcast. You're amazing.
Being our
I'm
first
such a
guest
fan.
too.
What is that?
They're our first guest.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was nervous. I was like, I don't know what to do, but you guys are such pros, and
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Persistent, not
Oh,
professional.
You are.
I'm gonna get a button.
I saw you looking at me like.
Yeah, she did. She was like,
Yeah,
how to interact with that.
she does because like my mind just goes beyond the gutter.
Yeah, I was waiting on something ugly to
Well,
come out.
it was.
I mean, you could have said it. It's
Yeah, I was
fine.
going to. But,
Do it. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was fixing. I'm glad that we could pop y'all's cherry.
Woo!
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're the cherry poppers.
You are.
We gotta make that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're the cherry poppers. You can check us out on Instagram.
Appreciate you for coming. Yeah, so we'll just post up everything with all the podcasts that you have and dates and
Thank you.
what's to be recorded. And check out Silent Horror.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Bye.